Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, January 25th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, and I'm joined by my co-host on this beautiful Monday morning here in Toronto, Monday afternoon over there in Netherlands, Mr. Marcel Dorff. Marcel, how's it going, man?
I'm going well, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
great card on the weekend. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're here, man, because, you love the sport just as much as me. Hey, what city do you live in, man? You live in, Rotterdam or something, or?
Maastricht. Maastricht is like the most south part of the Netherlands. It's close to the border against Belgium. I have like 5 minutes to walk. I'm in Belgium.
Oh.
So it's like 2.5 hour drive from Amsterdam, for example.
We always start the podcast with the obituaries. So Kevin Scott says, let's take a moment of silence for Amanda Ribas and Herb Dean for whatever he is doing there. We'll talk about that fight in a few minutes. That's a funny comment, Kevin. But overall, Marcel, we'll get right into the card now. It was an incredible card, I thought. As far as picks go, I went 6-5. Did you go 6-5 too? I think you did.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone have a good night. I'll be honest. There's no better. I saw everyone lost money on this card. 98% of the money was on Conor McGregor to win the main event, Marcel. I didn't see too many people with Poirier. I talked about the podcast last week. I said, don't bet on McGregor at -300. I just thought the line was too high. I thought Poirier had a chance. I didn't expect him to brutalize Conor the way he did. I think the fight went easier than anyone could have expected. It really wasn't that tough of a fight for him. But in general, man, I didn't see too many people picking him. There was only one guy at odds breaker that had Poirier, Marcel. No one did great. There was a lot of upsets on this card. Let's get right into it, man. We'll get these comments quickly. LEA says Big Marcel's the GOAT. Yes, we know that. And Valerie, hey, Valerie, Marcel, what a card. I agree. Okay, so let's talk about the main event. We'll work our way down as always. Main event of the evening, Marcel. Dustin Poirier knocks out Conor McGregor in the second round. They're calling it a TKO. Dude, this is a knockout. He was out cold.
Yeah, I said that.
Why are they calling it a TKO? I saw John McCarthy saying, well, if the guy's not knocked out, it's a KO. But someone posted the GIF. Conor's sleeping, basically.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a legitimate KO. I have a lot of thoughts about this fight. My first thought is amazing performance by Dustin. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. He is one of the greatest guys in the sport. This is the guy that, is constantly helping charitable foundations. He's giving his time and money to charity all the time, Marcel. He's a guy that clearly cares about the community. So I love the guy. He's an amazing fighter. You look at his resume, McGregor, Holloway, Pettis, Alvarez, Gaethje. His resume is a Hall of Fame resume. So amazing performance by him. I'm just really surprised how many fans are making excuses for Conor McGregor in this fight. He got his ass kicked, guys. He got his ass kicked. He lost fair and square. The amount of people I've seen, Marcel, messaging me saying, well, if he didn't hurt his leg, he would have won the fight. Or, if he didn't wrestle him and throw that part of the game plan and show that wrinkle, he would have knocked him out. These people realize it's MMA match, Marcel. Why are so many Conor defenders? The guy's a grown-up. He can do what he wants. He's in there. He's defending himself. He's fighting. He's doing what he wants. He doesn't need fans to defend the guy. To me, it's pretty sad that people are trying to take away from Poirier's win. He won 100% clean. Those kicks were nasty. He didn't check the kicks. It's his fault. And the knockout was clean too. I think it's an amazing win for Dustin Poirier. I think more people need to give him respect, Marcel, and enough excuses for Conor McGregor. He's a grown man. Everything he does is an excuse. He punches a guy in the bar, Marcel. There's an excuse. He's in the news for sexual assault. There's people excusing that, saying, "Oh, leave him alone. He's a fighter. You don't need to care what he's doing in his personal life." Enough of the excuses for the guy. You know what I mean, Marcel? He's a grown man. He's got 3 kids. He's got a fiance. He's a millionaire. He can do this on his own, guys. He doesn't need people defending him. This was a great knockout for Poirier. Celebrate it. Don't defend Conor and his antics. I want your thoughts on everything, Marcel, as far as this fight goes, Conor, everything. The floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, let's start with that KO TKO thing, man. I said it immediately to a friend of mine. I was like, listen, man, this is a clear KO. This is not a TKO. And it's like they try to downgrade it, by the UFC. There's always when somebody they're really high on, they don't want to lose, then it's out of a sudden it's a TKO. But if it's somebody they're high on, for example, I think if Conor was the one giving it to Poirier and Poirier was the one receiving it, it would have been a KO. You know what I mean? So kind of fishy to me, but for me it's a KO. I also put it on my website as a KO. Yeah, he agrees as well. So yeah, I mean, was pretty obvious. About the fight, I think Conor did pretty well in the first round, to be honest.
Yeah, he won the first round. He won the first round, yeah.
He did pretty well. He tagged Dustin a few times, and but Poirier, man, the leg kicks made the difference. And at a certain moment, Conor had very much difficulties to get more, how do you say, to put more weight on that leg, and he got not balanced anymore very well, and Poirier landed on him, and yeah, he knocked him out. So good for Poirier. About the apologists on the internet, it's the whole damn time, man. It's also in the Netherlands over here. I mean, it's the thing with Sean O'Malley as well, man. When Vera hit that on his knee, and then he was like, he was lucky. It's just I never get that kind of stuff, And then I see some people saying like, I don't like people trashing Conor and this and kind of stuff, or we should be have it as a professional take. I will never trash fighters on the internet. It's not my style. It's not my thing, what I do. But on the other hand, I mean, what did Conor do for years to other fighters? And those same Conor fans who are now complaining that Conor gets trashed by some fans, those are the same fans who trash all the other fighters, So I'm like, just shut up. I don't do it, but it's just annoying to me. But a great win for Poirier, man. Of course, I agree with you. He has great wins on his resume. He should fight for the title next. I don't think Khabib comes back. Isn't it funny to you, man, that Dana has like for 1 week, 2 weeks, like Khabib might coming back, he's might coming back, and then out of a sudden Poirier wins, and he's like, yeah, Khabib said to me he's not really looking into getting good, so he's probably not coming back. I was like, dude, you are really thinking that Conor would absolutely win, and you wanted to have that fight. Even I don't know if you saw the Looking for the Fight episode, where it's like to Poirier or to Khabib, like, how many buys that would do, or this and that, and Khabib was looking like, yeah, who cares? So it's like
he doesn't need to fight anymore. The thing about Khabib
exactly.
There was an article a few months ago, Forbes, I think, posted an article about how much money he makes for speaking arrangements. Like, he gets paid 6 figures, Marcel, just to speak in front of these people in Russia. So I posted the article, and actually Ali Abdelaziz messaged me, and he's like, he actually makes more money than they reported. So he's making like probably 7 figures a year just talking, Marcel. He doesn't have to fight. So, I mean, for him, it's like, at this point, I actually thought he was done already. I thought the GSP fight was the only fight he'd come back for. I never thought the Conor fight was interesting because he's all about respect, Marcel. He said many times, Conor doesn't deserve this fight. He hasn't did anything to prove it. He doesn't deserve it at all. Not only that, Marcel, Conor does not deserve an immediate trilogy fight. So a lot of people saying Dustin should fight Conor a third time now. No, this fight wasn't close, guys. If it was like the Nate Diaz fight, the second one, Marcel, where it went the distance and it was super close, majority decision, sure. This was a blowout, guys. I'm sorry. Yes, Conor did well for 5 minutes. Who cares? How many fights have we seen in the past, Marcel, where a guy does well for 5 minutes in the first round? Why does Conor get more leniency than any other fighter? I understand he's a superstar, but he got his ass kicked. He got knocked out.
Let's talk about Henry Cejudo against Marlon Moraes.
Yeah.
Remember that first round?
He got his ass kicked, and then Cejudo, and then he weathered the storm and came back and won. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But again, the point is, like, lots of guys have did well for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Not even in title fights, just non-title fights, Marcel, like this one. So to me, it's like, yeah, he's great. I still think Conor's going to be, in line for a big fight, but I think there's other good fights for him. Now, let's talk about Poirier. We'll do both guys. We'll do Poirier first. LEA says Poirier, Oliveira, and I agree with you, sir. I do think that's the fight to make, and I'll tell you why. Because Oliveira deserves a title shot more than anyone. I love Michael Chandler. I picked him, Marcel. I thought he'd win this fight. I love the guy. He doesn't deserve to break the line ahead of Oliveira. How does getting 1 win beat out 8 wins? Not only that, but Oliveira just beat Tony Ferguson 30-24. Like, he dominated Tony Ferguson, the former number contender. Dan Hooker's a good fighter. I never thought Dan Hooker was an elite guy. I'll be honest with you. I thought he was a good top 10 guy, but not an elite guy. He showed that yesterday. I don't know what he was doing in that fight. We'll talk about him in a second. But for me, Poirier, Oliveira, the problem is, does that fight sell? I don't know. And I don't know if the UFC wants to do it. That's why when I saw Nate Diaz post yesterday, Marcel, now I'm thinking maybe they'll try doing the Nate Diaz fight just because of the money aspect of it. It's hard to say, man, but if it was me, Marcel, if I was the matchmaker, I would do the Oliveira fight. But I think Dana White might say, hey, I don't think that fight's going to sell, guys. We need another fight. What's your thoughts, man? What's next for Poirier?
I mean, that should be Oliveira, man. I mean, Chandler, he did well, but based on the win over Dan Hooker, you don't deserve a title shot, in my opinion. And I agree with you on Dan Hooker. I said it last time, man. Since he's training with Volkanovski being a champion and Israel being a champion, he thinks he's that elite guy as well, but I don't think he is. He's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, top 10, but I don't see him making any run to a title soon. I picked him to win against Chandler, but was a coin flip, I said last week as well, so I have no shame there. But I mean, Poirier against Diaz, do it, but not for a title. Diaz doesn't need to fight for a title right now. And I agree with you that it might sell better than Poirier against Oliveira. But like I always say to you, man, if you think a fight doesn't sell, put it at the co-main event and put a main event that does sell, but keep the legitimacy of the sport intact, We don't need to have Nate Diaz can come back, but not fight for a title at this moment. I'm a Nate Diaz fan. I'm also a Nik Diaz fan, but they shouldn't fight for a title right now. And for Conor, I think honestly, Conor against Nate Diaz would make lots of sense right now. It's not for a title. You can make it a main event, 5 rounds, third fight would be perfect. So
sure.
Yeah,
I'd watch Conor Nate 3. I think that makes a lot of sense too. Again, I don't think that Conor deserves a title shot or a fight with Dustin if it's for a title or not. He doesn't deserve the third fight yet. I realize he won the fight 7 years ago. It's a different time now. Let him get another win under his belt. Conor hasn't fought much lately, Marcel. The last 4 or 5 years, he's fought maybe once a year, not even once a year, once every 2 years. So he needs to get a little bit more time under his belt, in my opinion. I'd like to see him fight Nate. I think that'd be a fun fight. I think Tony Ferguson would be a good fight for Conor as well. I think that'd be a great fight. They have some bad blood from former same management, obviously. So I think that'd be a good fight as well. Also, Justin Gaethje, especially after seeing the way that the kicks hurt Conor really bad in this fight. I think Gaethje, that's a really interesting fight. I always thought it was. So to me, those are the fights for Conor now. Dana's got to be pissed that his boy lost. You can tell, Marcel. But, dude, this is the fight game, man. There's a winner and a loser. In this case, Conor lost. He got knocked out. And I want to get this comment quickly. Yeah. Mark Valerie says she'd like to see Conor Holloway rematch. I wouldn't mind that fight. I just think Max is going to stay at 145 for a while. What were you going to say, Marcel?
Yeah, and let's be from the start, Dana was never in this fight, Conor and Dustin made this fight in December to fight each other for a good cause, for Dustin's good cause, And then out of a sudden, Dana came into it, and he's like, no, you're not going to fight outside the UFC, you're going to be inside the UFC. And then he's like, yeah, we always make the fight the fans want. And I was like, dude, you didn't really want to have this fight. These two made this fight. They agreed on this fight outside of you. And then it was easy for you to make this fight because both guys wanted this fight.
Yeah, no, your arms are right. Anyway, anything else you want to say about this main event, or you want to move on to co-main now? Anything else?
No, let's go to co-main.
Michael Chandler knocks out Dan Hooker in the first round. I mean, beautiful performance. Just had that left hand cocked the whole time, Marcel. Dan Hooker, what a bizarre performance. Like, he just circled around. He didn't engage. He looked like he froze in the fight. It was really bizarre. I don't know. Like, Dan Hooker's usually the guy who's extremely aggressive, walks forward. It was the opposite in this fight. I'm wondering, the fight with Poirier took a lot out of him, man. Did he take a lot of damage? Is his chin cracked now permanently? It's possible. I did pick Chandler by knockout, guys. I thought he'd go to the body a little bit because we saw the Barboza fight a few years ago. That's why we hurt him. He went right to the chin. Actually, I think he went to the body first and then dipped up and went to the chin with the left hook, put him out. It was an incredible knockout. I still don't think he gets him a title shot, though. And don't get me wrong, he's on a nice streak, 3-fight win streak. Benson Henderson sitting the outlaw, and now Dan Hooker, all by knockout, Marcel, in the first round. Great wins. But 8 wins in a row by Oliveira, to me, that surpasses what he's did. So just thoughts on Chandler. It was a great debut, no doubt about it.
100% great debut, man. I didn't expect it to go this way, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I actually said it just 5 minutes ago, man. I don't think Hooker is elite, and Chandler, I didn't think he's good, when he comes to Bellator, but he has to prove he's the elite in the UFC yet. And this is a good start. I want to see him fight. Let them fight Gaethje, man. Would be perfect. Chandler,
yeah, that's what this guy's saying. Bilbo fat skins. That's exactly what I said too. I said on Twitter right after the fight, I was like, do Oliveira, Poirier, Chandler, Gaethje, number one contender. Same fight, co-main event, same card, right? Yeah,
definitely, man. Plus, the thing is, if Chandler came as a champion from Bellator, it would have been different for me as well. But he lost to Patricio Pitbull, If Patricio Pitbull comes to the UFC and he doesn't get an immediate title shot, but he wins his first fight, I have no problem with him getting a title shot. It's just different to me, man.
I agree. Here, this is a funny comment from Marcus. He says, Dan Hooker's body language early in the fight had me guessing second guessing him. The Adam Martin special failed me. So the Adam Martin special is the height and reach advantage because I'm tall and long. I'm 6'3" and I have a 78-inch reach, so I have a pretty long reach. Actually, I did measure myself, so it's pretty long. But in general, like I like the guys that are taller and longer, Marcel. But not every time. And in this time, I actually picked Chandler despite the reach disadvantage because of the power, the explosiveness, the athleticism. Right. By the way, I got to talk about. We'll just talk about this now. I had it in the news section, but the backflip. Dana White freaked out after he scolded him, saying, "I don't want." He's like, "Someone's gonna get fucking hurt doing this." It sounds like my dad or something saying it, man. I think they'll ban them, Marcel, because they are banned in some places like Vegas. They don't allow them. Like Justin Gaethje did it and he got in trouble. Mm-hmm. I think they might do a UFC ban on them just because they are very dangerous. I don't think anyone's broke their neck, but do you remember when Johnny Walker did the worm? He hurt his shoulder. They don't want guys doing this because they invest a lot of money in these guys. They invested a lot of money in Michael Chandler. Just say he broke his neck or his spine or his ankle or anything. Then we'd be like, what the hell did you do that for? So do you think they'll ban those the backflips?
Yeah. They can ban it, but if fighters are in the moment and adrenaline rush, they're gonna do it anyways, probably. Exactly. So I don't know. Listen, man, you can fine them for it. You know, I mean, if they're gonna ban it and they do it, they will probably fine them for it. But I mean, I don't know. I saw once there was a Chinese or a Japanese guy in another promotion. He did that as well, and he felt on his shoulder or something, and then he couldn't stand anymore. He was like limping the whole damn time. So
I can't remember what fight that was. I think I know the one you're talking about too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it is dangerous. I mean, I can't do it. I would, dude, if I could do a backflip off the top. Like I grew up watching wrestling and stuff. So like I was used to seeing guys doing like, you know, shooting star press and all this stuff, like whatever that they do from the top of the turnbuckle. When I started seeing MMA, I was like, that's pretty cool. But I gotta be honest, man, like it's 2021. I think we should know a little better by now. Like it's fun to watch Marcel, but if the first fight, let's say he broke his ankle, then what? You know,
man, I'm not even doing a front flip, man. Why should I do a backflip, man? Come on.
I know. Okay, we'll go to the next fight. We'll go through this one quickly. It wasn't the most exciting fight, but Joanne Calderwood picks up a very dominant decision win over Jessica I think I had Calderwood. You had Calderwood. I don't think too many people had I in this fight, right?
I guess Calderwood won. I saw the first 3 minutes of the first round and the last 3 minutes of the third round. I fell asleep in between, so I'm not going to lie about it. That's also why I didn't score the card or the fight. So, but Calderwood was better in those 6 minutes I saw, so I guess.
Yeah, it was whatever. But, you know, like she's not that far from a title shot. I was looking at the rankings. Like she's probably one win away. Looking at the rankings, maybe someone like Kaylin Chukagian would be a good fight, maybe. They might have fought before. I can't remember. Have they fought? Maybe not.
Don't think so, no.
No, they haven't. So actually, no, they have. What am I talking about? They did fight Marcel in Chicago on the Cejudo Moraes card, which you brought up earlier today. They fought on that card. So she has fought her, but there was one other person on the rankings ahead of her that I thought was a good fight. Who was it?
Rematch against Cynthia, maybe.
It was Lauren Murphy. That was the other fight that I thought would be a good one too. Or you could do the Maya fight again too, maybe, because I think the Maya fight was kind of weird the way it happened. Took it on short notice, Maya, and different opponents she was training for. We'll see. But I mean, if she wins again, then you're screwing away a contender in a way. Like you're killing a contender, I should say. Elliot says, Marcel, do you know why I quit is not fighting? I want to save these kind of questions until at the end, man, if you don't mind. But you can answer this one if you want. You know
why? For sure. I know he has a fight lined up.
Injured, right? I thought he was injured. No,
he got a fight lined up, but I haven't been able to confirm it yet. So
is it a top 15 opponent? Can we say that? Is it a top 15? Top 15? Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys can look at the rankings. I'm not even looking at them right now, but I'm guessing like Diego Ferreira would be a good fight. Like, I don't know. I want to try, like, let's keep asking Marcel, and maybe we'll see his eyes, and maybe he'll blink or something I'm just kidding, Marcel. I won't do that to you. We'll get this comment here from Bilbo. He says, thought Jojo beat Chukagian. Yeah, it was a close fight. Next up, another guy I'm really high on. I had him here. He was an underdog, I think, last week when I picked him. Makhmud Muradov knocks out Andrew Sanchez. This guy's ridiculously good. 14 straight wins, Marcel. Why is this guy being slept on? Why do people think Andrew Sanchez would beat him? He destroyed him. This fight wasn't close. How good is this guy?
He's very good, man. And the funny thing is when he took a short notice fight against Kevin Holland or the other way around, people were very high on Holland, and I was very high on Muradov in that fight. It's like half a year ago, I think. Yep. And the fight didn't happen, unfortunately. But, man, I know Holland got a fight lined up against Derek Brunson, but I love down the line. I love to see that fight getting rebooked against Muradov against Holland, because I think Holland will be a big favorite. And I think Muradov has a chance to win that fight, man. And Muradov's really good. He's not. He is signed by Floyd Mayweather, man. He's the only MMA fighter signed by Floyd Mayweather's management. And
Yep.
I mean, if you get signed by that management, they probably see something big in you, I think, and deservedly at this moment so far, man. In my opinion.
Yeah, I really like him. He's actually been a pro since 2012, so he's been fighting a long time as a professional. Again, he's blessed with physical talent, 6'2", 75-inch reach, Marcel, 185 pounds. So I really like the guy. And like you said, he's got Floyd Mayweather's team backing him. So when he becomes a star, they'll be backing him like crazy. And I think he can become a star for like a year, especially for these European fight night cards. He's the guy that could be potentially headlining a card, Marcel, I think, maybe in the next year or so. But again, this is a good step up for him, and he got the win. And then opening up the main card, another big upset, Marcel. Amanda Ribas gets knocked out by Marina Rodriguez. I mean, pretty surprising result here, in my opinion. Listen, I thought the line was a little too high for this one, too. Rodriguez is someone that I think is a very good fighter. She had some nice performances and fights that could have went either way. Like, I thought she beat Carla Esparza. I think a lot of people thought she might have beat Cynthia, too, a little bit. So, to me, she's actually a very good underrated fighter. And I thought the line at minus 350 or whatever it was a little too high. At the same time, though, it was really hard to pick against Amanda. Of course, I picked her. Everyone did, I think, just because of the win streak she had. She had quality wins. It wasn't even the Page win. It was the one over Mackenzie Dern that I was like, this girl's really good. But having said that, Marcel, I have seen her fight in Jungle Fight where she got knocked out by Vienna. I have seen her get knocked out. So I knew it was possible. I just didn't think it happened in this fight against someone, Rodriguez, who hadn't shown any sort of power during her UFC career. In fact, that was her first knockout in 3 years. So that was a surprising win. What were your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, man, I expected Ribas to implement her ground game, what she did in the first round. And you saw Rodriguez had a busy guard, but she couldn't really do really anything about Ribas's ground game, And I expected her to do that in the second round as well, but she didn't. She got tagged. Herb Dean, he didn't know really what he had to do, if he had to stop it or not. Then it got stopped for the second time, pretty much. Now he didn't stop it the first time, but it was really confusing what happened. Yeah, good win for Rodriguez, man. She's good. We know she's a good stand-up fighter. Her ground game is, listen, man. If she fights a wrestler, she's in trouble, man. We saw that before, but her stand-up game is really good, man. And props to her. She was a big underdog, like you said.
And you know what? It's another example of a fighter. And I don't love the rankings. Don't get me wrong, but I've noticed so many times where the guy or girl that's ranked higher, the underdog, they come through with the win. A lot of times, Poirier, Rodriguez, it happens really often. So that's something to keep in mind on your mind on, guys, if you're betting on the sport. To take a small look at the rankings to see if the underdog's actually the higher ranked fighter, because I've noticed they often win. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, but I agree with you there.
That's weird. I've noticed that a little bit lately, actually. Yeah.
But hey, man, gotta say, man, I just people's like, is the hype with Amanda Ribas over? I don't know. I don't know if that's really hype. I think she's legit. There are definitely people who pick her because they like her. But
what's not to like, man? There's so much to like about her.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. But there's also lots of skill. So it's not only hype; there's skill as well. So I wouldn't say like the hype is over because she lost, but yeah, I mean, for some people maybe, but she got legit skill, man. But she fought against Marina Rodriguez, who was also very skilled. So 2 skilled fighters, 2 Brazilians, fought very hard, and the best girl won, man, last Saturday. So props to Rodriguez for that, coming out as an underdog, winning.
Yeah, and again, that's a fight where I didn't see too many people picking Rodriguez, a couple, but not too many.
Same. Yeah.
Going to the prelims now, Marcel. We'll get to that fight that you want to talk about in a sec with me. But now, this fight between Arman Tsarukyan and Matt Frevel, we might as well talk about the whole Ottman Azaitar situation. So he got pulled from the fight. Okay, this whole situation is so crazy and so sketchy, kind of, in my opinion. Dana White says that Azaitar, I don't know if it was his whole team or just him, but he cut off his wristband. Another guy took the wristband, went into the hotel, and then climbed across 4 balconies with some bag, dropped the bag off. Dana White's not talking about the bag. He doesn't say what's in it. Now, it's okay. We're going to speculate. Why not? Let's have some fun. Let's talk about what's in the bag. So, have you seen the movie Pulp Fiction before? You ever seen the movie Pulp Fiction?
A long time ago.
Okay, do you remember where they look into the briefcase and the gold, that you see the gold shining out? That's kind of what it reminded me of. So I was like, oh, it must be that. I'm kidding, though. You know what I think it was? I think it was diuretics for a weight cut. And I'll tell you why. Because the pictures of him that cutting weight, they looked horrible. It looked like he was on his deathbed. Then this happened. So I think maybe some guy was sneaking in some diuretics or something. That's completely just me guessing. But at this point, we can guess on anything. It could have been anything. Dude,
Yeah.
I'd be scared. Like, if you're the UFC and the security there, you think the guy might have a bomb or something. Really, it could be anything, right? Like, it's scary. When you heard the story, what do you think's in the bag? What do you think of the story?
When I think of the story is that I wasn't surprised that something like that happened with Azaitar. That when what was in the bag, I have no idea, man. I mean, I really have no idea, but there's some sketchy things going on with Azaitar all the time in Germany when he fought there. So I'm not surprised. But it pretty much sucks, man, because he had two great fights in the UFC, two six stoppages,
Dude, it reminds me when they cut Paul Daly 10 years ago, because he was such a talented guy, and he fucked up. He punched Koscheck after the bell. I still think that was kind of like extreme, though. I mean, we've seen guys get punched after the bell before that they kept around.
It's the damn only thing Dana kept his promise for not giving somebody a second chance or getting him back. Yeah. I mean, why? I have no idea, honestly, because he apologized for that like a trillion times. Yeah. But
that was weird. Yeah, I know. Also, Jason Hyde too. I think he pushed a ref at one point. And he got cut.
Mulhall,
but that's it. Dana White usually changes his mind. We get these comments here. Daniel Edwards. If Marcel doesn't go off on a fighter, he doesn't like this. He doesn't like on the stream when you disappoint. You better go off on someone, Marcel. We're getting to the really bad fights in the card too, by the way. So I know what was in the bag. I'll be all tight if I snitch. I'll cut your hands off. Let's go to the next. Oh yeah, sorry. So Tertsukian and Frevelo. We didn't even talk about the fight. It was pretty much just him dominating. I mean, it wasn't. It was. He was minus 700. The betting line was a joke. So I feel bad for Frevelo because he kind of got a way tougher fight on the last second.
Definitely,
That's the sport, man. You got to take what you can get. It was either that or get in fight and get paid. What were you going to say?
Yeah, because stylistically, man, Azaitar doesn't really has a threat on the ground, in my opinion, is really on the feet. And Tsarukyan is a very good wrestler, man. So, I mean, it's a completely different opponent.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, I like Tertsukian, though, man. I really do like this kid. He is 3-1. I'd like to see him get a top 15 guy. We'll see if he can get that type of opponent next. Okay, now let's get to this fight. There's a few things I want to talk about this one. Brad Tavares, Antonio Carlos Jr. It was a terrible fight. It was a boring fight. It was just Carlos pressing Tavares against the fence. From what I saw, I didn't see Tavares doing much. I just saw him getting pressed against the fence. I saw Carlos at least doing something. That's what I saw. I looked at the stats. The strikes were tied in the first round, which I thought that Carlos edged it. The second round, Tavares clearly won. He dropped him. Third round, dude, listen, I was probably one of the only people that thought Junior may have won this fight. Obviously, I was wrong because 99% of people thought otherwise. So I'll accept that. It was a bad scorecard by me. Now, at the same time, and I totally understand that there's criticism that goes with posting scorecards online. I'm totally fine with it. I welcome it. I'm totally fine if people want to talk about the scorecards in the chat here or on Twitter, anything really. That's fine. The problem was there was a few things. It's a Conor McGregor fight night, so you got a lot more trolls out. You got a lot more people that are drinking out. I posted my scorecard, and again, it was a bad scorecard. I apologize. I'll watch the fight again at some point. I don't want to watch the fight again, Marcel. But here's the thing, guys. I'm in a different place in my life now than I used to be. So I've been doing the scoring and made decisions on and off for 10 years. So if you look back at fights from like 10 years ago, you'll see my name on there. So I've been doing it on and off for 10 years. I'm an excellent judge. I would easily get a judging license if I wanted to, but I'm a journalist. You can't judge and journal. So it's one or the other. You can't be a judge, bet on fights, and then write about fights. You can't. So there's a conflict of interest. But I did like doing it as a service to the community to get my scorecard out there, to get my scorecards out there. So a few months ago, I talked to MMA Decisions. I said, hey, man, can I come back and do some scoring for BJ Penn? He's like, yeah, of course. So I thought it was a good idea. And, I knew that there would be some people that are upset when you post a certain scorecard, which is totally understandable. The difference this time was, Marcel, it wasn't people criticizing me, which, again, I'm actually fine with, and I welcome it. It was just abuse. And I don't need to be abused to do something I'm volunteering to do. Guys like me and Marcel, we volunteer during our Saturday nights to put our scores on the internet. I see your comments, Marcel, too. You do get a lot of shit on. This was a little different for me, Marcel, because generally I have a very very mellow timeline. I follow people that are really chill. I follow people that are smart and they can engage in the sport in a very intelligent discussion. I don't really follow people that are trolls. That's why this was different for me, because it wasn't just random people, Marcel. It was actually some people that followed me for a while that went after me, which shocked me. So for me, it was really disgusting. But I talked about it on Twitter, and I don't like making these stories about myself. But at the end of the day, Marcel, I enjoyed doing the scores. But for me, it was like I was taking time out of my night doing something that wasn't benefiting me. And the cons were actually outweighing the pros. if I was getting paid to do it as part of my job, I would continue to do it. So if there's a website that's like, hey, we want you to do play-by-play and score the fights, okay, I'll do that. But taking time out of my night to be shit on and abused by trolls, and this is abusing. I don't need that, man. I don't need that. I work really fucking hard. I'm a really nice guy to everyone. I don't need to be abused. I'm nice to everyone, Marcel. You don't ever see me attack people on Twitter, ever. So people going after me was pretty shocking, but I gotta say, man, I have so many people reach out to me privately and were like, dude, you are a great guy. Don't worry about these people. So I appreciate everyone who did reach out. I know you Marcel, you were the first guy to reach out, so I appreciate it. It's not me quitting. I wasn't getting paid to do this. If I got paid, yes, that's quitting your job. I wasn't getting paid. I was volunteering to do it. So in case anyone's wondering, that's really what happened. I just decided, you know what? And I was thinking about this for a while. My fiance and I watch the fights every night. She's pregnant right now. I need to give her a little bit more attention. So I think it actually works out in a way, Marcel, because the truth is, man, I'd rather talk to her than some idiots on the internet. That's the truth. So it is what it is. But some good people ruined, I think, what was a good thing. But at the same time, there's great people like Marcel still doing scores. And that's what I was going to say, Marcel, about that. But again, I take full responsibility if I posted a bad scorecard, and I apologize to anyone. But the thing is, Marcel, I don't know why I'm apologizing, because I think there's too many people out there that think that we actually affect the fights. And I didn't realize that. I always looked at MMA decisions as just a resource. It's a resource for especially journalists. If I'm doing an article on a bad decision, I look to see what the media scored. People think that we actually had an effect on the fight. So I was like, screw it. It's not worth it. So that's all I was going to say. But as far as the fight goes, any thoughts on this ugly fight? It was a boring fight.
Yeah, man. Fight wasn't that great. I had round one for Antonio Carlos Jr., second for Tavares, third for Tavares. Wasn't a great fight. Let's move on, man.
Sure. I just wanted to explain myself, man.
Yeah, definitely.
You wanted to hear as well, but
yeah.
I really hate making a story about myself, guys. That's not a journalist's job. It's about the athletes and whoever you're covering. But I know some people were curious as to what happened. Again, I wasn't getting paid to do his volunteer job, and that's it. So, let's move on. Next fight, Juliana Pena. I had her as an underdog, Marcel. She picks up the third round submission over Sarah McMahon. Pena is she is a good fighter, man. I still think that there's a chance we could see this Amanda fight because we haven't seen it yet. So, do you think it happens next year? Like, do you think she needs one more win? Like, what do you think?
I don't know what they're going to do, man. I honestly think maybe Amanda Nunes retires after the Megan Anderson fight. I mean,
yeah.
And then they can do Holly Holm, Jermaine Durand for the title over there. And the winner of that one maybe against Pena or Aspen Ladd. So, I don't know. I don't think Pena deserves a title shot at all at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, she just lost to Durandamy. The only thing is it's a fresh matchup, right? She hasn't fought Amanda yet, so.
Yeah, true. But
she doesn't deserve it. Yeah, you're right. No, she doesn't. You're right. But she's out there calling her out, and it was kind of interesting to see the response. At least Amanda responded, so she's, I guess, got a little bit interested. She wouldn't have responded if she thought it was a joke. Like, who is it? Warley Alves called out Nate Diaz. Remember? You didn't see Nate Diaz say anything about that. Worst call out ever.
Nate Diaz thought it was somebody else. He said Nacho Diaz.
I know.
Probably didn't know it was him.
Next up, big upset here. Marcin Prachnio defeats Khalil Rountree. I scored for Rountree. I think I had the first and second for him, I believe. Did you have it for Prachnio?
Yeah, 1-3.
1-3. So it was the first round that it came down to, I think, right? That was the deciding round. I thought that the leg kicks on Rountree did a lot of damage. That's why I scored it for him. But the judges were unanimous for Prachnio, and you had Prachnio 1-3. Do you think he saved his job? I mean, I was shocked he even got another fight. He had 3 straight knockout losses in the first round.
I mean, for sure, man. He saved his job. So, he finally looked a little bit better than he did before in his UFC fights, And his coach is Dutch, or his 2 coaches, Martin de Jong and Vincent Latoul. And Martin said, they have been dealing with a mental coach lately because there was something he couldn't click some things together in the UFC. And he said after we started with this mental coach, more things click together, and he is really motivated and knows he can do it,
Yep.
And man, I'm always like, let's see first before we know if that's true, because man, coaches will always say stuff like this when a fighter loses 3 times, like, well, now we're going to win, because now it's different. But he did well, man. I mean, he got tagged in the second round by Khalil Rountree, but he came back and I think it was a good win, man. Like I said, at 29-28, good win for him. And let's see what will be in the future. I don't think we will see Khalil coming back, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he'll retire too, actually.
Yeah.
Did he post it yet? Let me check his Instagram.
I don't think he posted, but maybe he did. Maybe he did.
I thought that he might retire because he had already kind of been like on the fence about it for a while. I don't know what's with this guy, man. I mean, he had some amazing fights in the UFC, like the fight with Eric Anders. That was like an absolute beatdown I've never seen. But also the fight, with Gokhan Saki, that Marcel.
Yeah.
How did the UFC ruin him after that fight? They had a star in their hands, and he didn't fight for like a year after that. After the Saki win, he knocks him. It was on the Cormier card with Stipe. First fight of the night, knocked him out. He didn't fight for like a year after that. They killed his star power, dude. It's amazing how the UFC can kill some of these guys off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They get a big win, and then, like, after that fight, he didn't fight for over a year and a half. Or actually, he lost against Johnny Walker in his next fight. But he's had too many losses now. You know, look at his record. 4-5-1, no contest. It's not good enough, unfortunately. Getting down to the last two fights, actually, one guy that did retire, Nik Lentz, he did retire after this fight against Movsar Evlov. Split decision, which I don't agree with at all. I'll tell you why, because of the damage. The second round, that's what the judge gave it to Lentz. The first round was Lentz, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Third round was Evlov. The second round was the deciding round. But, dude, how could you look at those guys' faces, the amount of damage he did, and say that Lentz won the round because he had a guillotine choke attempt the second round? I think it was Evlov's fight, 29-28. What do you think?
Same.
Yeah.
First round was for Lentz. Listen, man, Lentz almost had him with the guillotine, but just like the Grundy fight, Evloev doesn't give up and he comes out of it. Second round was for Evloev, and the third round was really clearly for the Russian guy. So it's 29-28 on my scorecard. I saw many people had it even 30-27, but I think 29-28 was the right scoring.
Yep, I agree with that. And then finally, opening up the card, we had Amir Albazi defeats Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Unanimous decision. You picked Albazi, I believe. Good pick there. He won the fight 2-1. It was a close fight, but he won.
I had a 3-0. 3-0.
Was it the first round that Zhalgas won? I think he had a really late takedown. It was a close round.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that, man.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. Because the commentators, Dale Corey's like, oh, he got the takedowns. He won the round automatically.
Yeah,
that's such a lazy way to judge a fight.
I tweeted even about that. I was like, listen, man, all respect to the commentary team, but score your own fight, man. I mean,
I know.
Don't listen to that. Listen, you can listen to them for like technical things in between, but don't listen to the score. I don't even think the commentary team should score in a fight, in my opinion.
They really shouldn't, because they don't like. There's three guys talking to each other, so they get to rub their ideas off someone else. That's the other thing with posting my scores online. When I do, I don't look at other people say on Twitter. Same. A lot of people that are scoring fights are asking their friends what they thought that won the round, and they're just going to do that. They copy each other. So you see a lot of websites. All three guys that score the fight will have the same scorecards. They copy each other. I watch the fights. I try to not to look on Twitter to see what other people say and get influenced. In this particular fight, I thought Zhalgas edged it out really slightly because I thought the striking was even and the takedown just edged it out like, you know, minuscule point ahead for him. But it didn't matter, Marcel. He lost the fight. So, but I'm with you. Like, you know, I actually think that they need a dedicated scorer like they used to have. Eddie Bravo used to score the fights. He used to sit there. Remember, he did a good job too. So I think they could use that, but they choose not to do that. I don't really like the 3-team commentary personally. I think there's too many people talking sometimes, Marcel. You know, I know that you're not a huge fan of the commentary team often during the pay-per-views. I know you like the fight nights with Brandon and Paul Felder, but the pay-per-views, Marcel, I don't know. I think DC acts like it's like him watching at home on his couch sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, I love Anik. Anik is good. Anik is a true professional. You know, he's great. Felder, I like Felder as well. He's good as well. DC, not really, man. He's like the uncle on the barbecue who thinks it's funny to laugh about his own jokes. Yeah. You know, and DC is a great fighter, but I always say, man, to when I watch him with my friends, is like my friends like when DC was still competing. It's like DC is fighting next pay-per-view. Say, yeah, great. So he's not in the booth. So you know, nothing against him. He's a good fighter, but I'm really not down with his commentary. You know, and yeah. That's and really, if you combine him with Joe Rogan, is even worse. So
yeah, Joe wasn't there, thankfully. You know, he's a guy that's kind of, I think, thrown the towel in. Joe, he's just doing it for the money at this point. I love the guy. I mean, he's a legend of the sport. He'll be in the Hall of Fame, obviously, himself. He's a pioneer of the sport. But I think Joe Rogan at this time, you know, for a few years now, actually, Marcel, I've thought that maybe it's time for him just to do his podcast and focus on that. I don't think he watches enough of the sport now to really give his opinion on some of these fights. You know what I mean? He knows the big names, but I'll be honest. Sometimes the commentary disappoints me because I'm not saying Anik. I think he does a good job of play-by-play, but when I watch, I'm not really trying to watch. It's okay. When DC commentates, it reminds me of like Faber and Snoop Dogg when they did Contender Series. And it's fun to watch. And if that's the way they want to do it for Contender Series, I think that's okay. But for the UFC, I would like someone that's more technical, breaking down the moves and stuff, Marcel. And DC is good at that when he does it, but too often he's the uncle at the barbecue making jokes and laughing at his own jokes. And I really like DC. I've met him in person. He is a great guy. He's an awesome dude. I'm not sure if he really works too well at the commentary booth. Maybe he's better like during the analyst booth, but that's my opinion. I'm not trying to bash the guy. I really like him. There's too many times where I've watched these pay-per-views now, Marcel, when I'm like, can these guys just shut up? You know what I mean, Marcel?
Yeah.
I actually have to turn down the volume a lot of the time now because you're just three guys talking over each other. It's very annoying. Yeah. And any other thoughts?
Was like last Wednesday, it was pretty bad, man. Every time Paul Felder was talking, DC was going over it.
I know. It's too much. And again, I think you look at Contender Series, Felder and Fitzgerald, two guys, it's great.
Yeah.
Why do they ever go to three guys? I think two guys is perfect for MMA. I don't think you need three. You need a play-by-play and a color. Marcus says, I'd love to see Askren get a shot at commentating. Yeah, he is a smart guy. I don't know how much Dana White likes him, though, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I'd like to see him at least get a shot behind the booth or something, you know? Marcus also says, this is talking about, obviously, the main event for Saturday. You think Dana regrets not stripping Khabib and making Conor Poirier for the title fight? Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
He was just banking on that Conor was winning and come back and he can make Conor against Khabib too. That's the only thing. If Conor wasn't fighting and it would have been Poirier against Oliveira, he definitely would have stripped Khabib, I think. So he was only banking on that fight.
I agree.
That's why
here's a great comment here from South China Morning Post. MMA, big ups to Adam Marcel. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I think that's probably John or Nick or Tom. I appreciate that, guys. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Marcel, as far as the title fight goes, yeah, they were banking on that fight. It's actually funny because TMZ interviewed Dana last week and they asked him, like, what happens if Conor loses? He's like, well, the division just moves on. Like, he wasn't even thinking that was a possibility.
Dude, he also said at the presser that wasn't too much about Conor and did Poirier get underappreciated in this fight. He's like, for sure, I had to bring up Dustin Poirier in the interview because people wouldn't bring him up. I was like, no, dude, you were almost all the time talking about Conor.
I thought that was funny too. He kept saying he's like the fans are overlooking him. He was the one overlooking him. We talked about this last week, remember? So that's crazy. Anyways, last thing on the card, the bonuses: Marcel, Poirier, Chandler, Muradov, Rodriguez. The four fighters in the main card that got finishes. Only Pena got a finish that didn't get a bonus, but it was a late finish and a fight she was losing, I think. So I think they were good bonuses. There really wasn't a fight of the night. I guess the main event would have been if it had to be, but there really wasn't a true fight of the night, huh?
No.
Actually, you know what? I think maybe, actually, as sad as it sounds, it might have been the Evlov fight with Lentz. Lentz actually might have had the best fight of the night. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I was completely okay with four.
Yeah. This is, but again, I'm one of the people, Marcel. Every finish should get a bonus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What's 50,000 Dana? He spends at the blackjack table after every card, anyways.
That's true.
I'm telling you guys, it's nothing to them. Marcel, 50,000 is nothing to the UFC.
That's true.
Daniel Edwards, am I wrong for thinking Chandler McGregor's a decent option? It's a win-win for you. Dude, that's a great fight. I didn't even think about that one. Yeah, you could do that. I saw some people suggesting Hooker. I was like, I don't want to see Hooker versus McGregor.
It's a great, but I don't think the UFC is going to match up McGregor with Chandler with a chance that Chandler puts him away as well.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if Chandler wins, then you have another star probably.
Yeah, true.
So it's hard to say. Kevin Scott, who's next for Dana's big push? Izzy Francis. Okay, so at it was like a week before the end of last year, Dana did an interview and he talked about the three fighters he's looking forward to watching in 2021. Okay, Khamzat Chimaev, Kevin Holland, and Joaquin Buckley. Well, one of them is already down, so let's see what the other two guys do. I'm really high on the other two guys, Marcel, but I gotta be honest, it feels like anytime Dana White gets behind a guy, he really jinxes him hard. So. Yeah, we know he's already pushing Izzy and Francis, but who's the next guy that they're going to push as a star? Who do you think?
Paul, that's a difficult question, man. You caught me off guard with that one.
That's a great question. Who asked that? Kevin, yeah. Kevin, I think that Poirier could be a star. I think that they want him to be. He doesn't really talk trash, but I think he does enough in the cage where I don't think he needs to. You know what I mean, Marcel? Like, I'd rather just watch a guy who's an amazing fighter. I don't need him just talking trash, you know?
Listen, man, that's probably definitely an undefeated fighter because Dana really gets really excited when there is an O with the losses behind it. So I see, man, yeah, maybe the guy at heavyweight, what's his name again? Cyril Gane.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I actually have the rankings open right now, and LEA said the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I literally have it open right now. But the thing is, can he speaks English or?
No, I don't think he does.
That's the problem, I think. I think these guys need, like, the UFC wants to get behind them. Generally, they want them speaking English. Even if you look at guys from other countries like Junior Dos Santos, he spoke good English. That's kind of why they got behind him a little bit. But a guy like Jose Aldo never did. You know, I think that these guys, these foreigners, you know, if they really want to make it big in North America, I think that's something they could work on. You know. Also, Marcel, he asked a question. LEA, do you have an update for Aliash Kebab Kizriev, future opponent? Who is that? Is that the guy from? Oh, he knocked out Spicely, right?
No, that's the guy from the Contender Series who won against Shigemoto. He was supposed to fight
right.
tournament on February 6th, but tournament pulled. So I don't know, man. I honestly don't think he gets a replacement, but maybe. But I don't know anything about it at this moment, man.
Who's the guy from looking for a fight that knocked out Spicely? You just signed him.
Renat. What's his? Oh, good. Ask.
They signed him though, eh? Dana White. Yeah. They picked him up, and they picked up another guy in the card.
He picked up Carlston Harris.
What's your thoughts on these prospects?
His name is Renat Fakhradinov. The Fakhradinov guy is really good, man.
Yeah. That was a brutal knockout, by the way.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
He's really good. Carlston Harris, he's more of a veteran kind of guy. He comes from, I think he's from, is he from Guyana or something?
What's his name? Carlton Harris?
Carlston Harris. So he's from Guyana, but he lives for a long time in Brazil. So he's also a former Brave champion, I think. So he's pretty good, but the funny thing what Dana said again, what always bothers me is like, yeah, we're normally not interested when you're at 33 or 34. I was like, dude, if this dude is good, I mean, who cares? Randy Couture was champion when he was 40. I know. So I really don't care.
I'm with you. I hate when he says that because I'm like Chris Curtis was the guy he said that about, and he didn't sign him after he got a knockout. And I'm like, why did they bring him on the show if they were just going to say you're too old? That was bullshit when he used to do that. I don't know if they do that anymore because they don't really bring older guys, but even like Dustin Jacoby, when they signed him, he was like, I'm not sure he's 32 years old. He's really old. I'm 32. I don't feel old, bro. Like,
no, exactly.
I know they're fighters. I get they're fighters, but heavyweight division, light heavyweight, they do last a little longer.
Yeah, but also when he says like, yeah, you did great, but I saw your record. Your record was like 12 and 5. Yeah. We don't bring 12 and 5 guys in, but I want to give you. I was like, dude, did you saw the opponents he fought? That 12 and 5 guy fought like four opponents which were currently in the UFC. I don't know who it was anymore. Were currently, and I was like, listen, you rather sign somebody who is 8-0 fighting 0-0 guys on the regional scene than you get somebody who is 12 and 5 who has 5 losses against legit competition. It's just stupid, man. I
agree. I'm just looking at Carlston Harris's Tapology, Marcel. Interesting prospect, you know. He's got some nice wins, Marcel. He has a win over Wellington Turman. He also has a win over Michel Pereira. So this guy has some nice wins, man. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Could be a good prospect. Jose Flores, hey Jose, he says thoughts on the guy that knocked out Spicely at UAE 15 and got signed by Dana. What's his name again?
Rinat Fakhradinov.
I'm just finding his profile here on here it is. Rinat Fakhradinov, right? Fakhradinov. 20-2 record. I remember writing about him last week. Guy's good, man. Look at his dude. He's on a 15-fight win streak, Marcel. He has a win over Spicely. He also has a win over former UFC fighter Alberto Uda. Who had fought Marvin Vittori at one point. So, what do you think of this guy as a prospect? Good signing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, very, very good, man. He has also won over Vanil Rafikov, which is a good fighter in Russia as well.
I see him.
Yeah. I think that was when Rafikov was 0-0 still. So that was in the beginning, or Rinat was 0-0, 1 or 2. But that's a good fighter as well. So he definitely gonna make some noise in the division, I think.
Yeah, I think this guy is going to be pretty good. That's Spicely win. By the way, Spicely was actually in Andrew Sanchez's corner because they're training partners. I was like, oh, he must have woken up now. How is he feeling? Let me get this comment here from LAA. It says, where's the beat? Okay, so I'll answer that, actually. The beat right now is just waiting. He's in a waiting period. It sucks. Yair Rodriguez basically is in trouble with USADA for a whereabouts violation, but I think he's able to fight in March or April or something. So at this point, I think after Dana White said he'll fight again in the next 3 months, it feels like they're just waiting for that Yair fight at this point. What do you think?
Yeah, they're definitely waiting for the Jair fight, and I'm not really interested in it, to be honest, man. It's a fun fight, but it's not like this fight has to happen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you can book him with somebody else if Jair doesn't want to fight or isn't able to fight him. You know?
I agree. Get a few more comments here. I'm going to get this from Jose as well. I'll get to yours in a sec, Kevin. He says, ONE FC signed some very interesting heavyweight prospects last month. Thoughts on their division? Who are some guys that they've signed, Marcel?
They signed Rourke.
Yeah, he's the big guy, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about him. What do you think of him, man?
Yeah, he made his debut actually last Friday, but it's not going to be streamed until Friday. So
I know it's so stupid, the way they do it.
Yeah. Looking forward to him, man. He's a good fighter. He's on my Topology draft prospect pick. So, I'm really wondering how he's going to do. Looking forward to that one. So, yeah.
Here's a question from Nick Atkins. Hey, Nick. He says, any word on when RDR is back in ONE, Marcel?
I have no idea, honestly, man. Also, our how do you say that? The things with flying to some other countries have been more strict since last Friday over here. So,
I'm not the biggest ONE guy. Is RDR, is that Rudrig as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Renier the Riddle.
Okay, great. Okay. Let me get this comment from Kevin. Kevin, can they book Zhang already? Rose, Carlo, who cares? Pick someone. Let's go. I agree. Now, Dana White's saying they're going to do it in China or Asia, so they might have to wait a while now at this point. I just want to see her fight. Dude, another fighter again. Talk about rooting stars. She hasn't fought in a year, Marcel, since the fight of the year. She hasn't fought since then. It's crazy. Yeah. Get this comment from Daniel. We give Dana a hard time. And credit to the UFC for not manicuring the stars and putting in them competitive fights in those parts. This is boxing. They got McGregor Sanchez. He's right. He's not wrong about that. They do put them in tough fights. Jose Flores is Charles Oliveira underrated tough matchup for Poirier. I believe his grappling is no joke. Dude, he is the most decorated submission artist in UFC history. He's the most submissions in UFC history, more than Royce Gracie. I think he's actually not in a tough matchup for Poirier. I've always thought he's kind of an interesting fight for Khabib because of the grappling. But honestly, after seeing Khabib's last fight with Gaethje, I don't think I'd pick him against anyone, But Oliveira versus Poirier is an interesting fight because Oliveira's really improved the striking too. What do you think of that fight?
I'm really looking forward to that fight. That's a fight that should happen anytime soon. That's a fight that should be happen next. So I hope it happens. I don't know, man. I mean, Oliveira looked so improved when he started in the UFC. When he was still young, he got knocked out by some weird kind of stuff. Sometimes looked like he didn't want to go through. But lately, he looked very good, man. So
he's incredible.
I really want to. I want to see this fight. This is the fight that should happen.
I love when a guy like this just kind of emerges out of nowhere because I'll be honest, I've watched him for over 10 years. He had some great performances over the years with the submissions and everything, but too often than not, he was the guy quitting in his fights. When he fought Cub Swanson, got punched in the eye and fell down in Toronto. I saw that fight. When he fought Max in Saskatchewan, said his neck hurt, and then the next day he was fine. He had these weird mental lapses in his fights. He's not that guy anymore. He's a completely different fighter now. He's just mentally tougher. I think that's the biggest difference. I think that's an interesting fight. Poirier, actually, the odds are out for that fight. Poirier's favored, but it's not by that much. It'd be a good fight. One other thing I forgot to ask you about, Marcel, earlier was Dana White going after these illegal streamers. He's got one. He said he got one. I believe the website's MMA Crack Streams, if I'm not mistaken. That website was the one that people have told me is the one that he had targeted. I don't know for sure if that's the truth, but from what I've heard, that's the website he was targeting, which I don't think is operational anymore, so it must have been. Do you think he can actually get these guys? Because the thing is, Marcel, when he closes down one, another guy will open up a site, right? It's never ending. What do you think?
Hey, man, I know people who watch illegal streams last Saturday, so it's definitely.
They're out there.
I can watch it for free on cable TV. So.
In Netherlands, you guys don't because it's in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah, so we can watch it, man. So we don't have to pay.
Where do you watch it on BT Sport or is it?
It's SBS 9. It's
Veronica
has the rights, but the SBS 9 they broadcast it on when it's at night. So if it's not at night, then we get it on the internet stream. We can watch it, which sucks because their internet stream sucks, and that's a beautiful thing with when it's not a pay-per-view, you know. If it's not a pay-per-view, we can also watch it on Fight Pass. But if it's a pay-per-view, you have to pay extra $25 on Fight Pass, but we get it on SBS 9, so that works.
Yeah.
I can just watch it on my TV. It's full HD, so it's nice.
That's not bad. So what time did you go to bed at after the card? Like, did you go to bed at like 10 a.m. or something?
Man, it was 7:30.
7:30.
When I 7:30 a.m. when I was in my bed.
So do you have a nap before the card starts?
No, never.
No, you stay up the whole night, eh?
I stay up the whole night, and I was up on how late? I think 11:50 a.m. again because my favorite team was playing at 12:15.
Fair enough. You know what? I'm like Marcel. I don't sleep much at all. I really don't sleep much, unfortunately. But that's tough to do. I hate pulling all-nighters, man. It's not for me. I just stay up really late. Jose Flores. This is the last question I'm going to take, guys, because I want to talk about something with Marcel before we get out of here. He says, "Don't you think Zhang versus Yan makes sense?" I would like to see that fight too, but I think they want Yan to get one more win. But I'm very high on her, Marcel.
They want that fight to be in China, and right now it's not possible. I think to make that in China.
Yeah, I think China's locked down, right?
Yeah.
And when they talk about doing the card in Asia, I'm assuming they meant Macau at that same casino where they did the fight with Kong Lee and Bisping, I would assume, right? So that's my guess.
That they also did Safedin against
Lim, which was an incredible fight. Tarek Savni versus Hung Yu Lim. What happened to Hung Yu Lim? That guy was amazing. He just got knocked out and started sucking. Okay, two last things, Marcel. We got like 5 minutes. We don't have much time to talk about this. I'm going to actually go through the fight announcements probably tomorrow or Thursday. If you want to join me again, Marcel, let me know. But I'm going to go through your page either tomorrow or Thursday for all the other fights. Now, two quick fights which you didn't have on your page. Number one, this is because it's a boxing match, but it was it's not official, but Manny Pacquiao versus Ryan Garcia. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
My knowledge on boxing.
I understand. You know Manny Pacquiao, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, but I
know Ryan Garcia? Are you familiar?
Okay, I know him from name, but I never saw him
so
fight.
He's the guy that's calling out Henry Cejudo. He wants to transition to MMA.
Okay, yeah.
In 4 years. He's 22 years old, I believe, right now. I think he's 21-0. He's on a 5-fight win streak by knockout. He's good. He's a big star. Dude, you know what's crazy? I was looking at their Twitter, Instagrams. He has 8.5 million followers on Instagram. Manny only has 6 million. He has more followers than Manny Pacquiao. I couldn't believe that when I saw it because Manny's a global superstar, especially in Philippines. Manny's 42 years old against a 22-year-old guy. This fight really doesn't make sense. It's just funny how they announced it, Marcel. As soon as Conor got knocked out, they announced this fight. Isn't that funny, Marcel?
Okay,
they're waiting to see what happened in that fight. And one other fight here, Brett announced this one. So the UFC, Dana White told him and said, "Go break the news for this one, Marcel." Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque. I like this matchup a lot. I'm a huge fan of Vicente Luque. I love him. He's super aggressive. The comments on the Facebook page, they think Woodley's are going to get pressed against the fence and outboxed again and lose the decision, get cut. What do you think?
Man, I mean, we saw Woodley how he fought lately. If he fights again like that, he's going to lose again.
Yeah. I pick against him every fight too, man. All three of his fights in his losing skate, I picked against him. He's just not the same guy anymore. No killer instinct whatsoever, Marcel. He's got no aggressiveness. He just it's like, you remember when he fought Rory McDonald? Yeah. It's just like that. That's how he looks now. Like the guy who beat Wonder Boy and Darren Till and Dong Kim and a few other guys, that guy's gone.
Yeah, no idea what happened.
It's weird, right? He just like fell off the face of the earth kind of in a way. But let's be fair to Woodley. He lost to 3 of the top 5 guys. Let's be fair to him.
True.
I actually think Luque has a good chance to win. I'm curious to see the odds. I hope Luque is an underdog. That'd be nice. All right, Marcel, I think that's it for today's podcast. Everyone who sent a question in, we got a lot of them today. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Marcel, thanks again, man, for joining me. Marcel, you let me know when you want to come back on. I'll be doing a show tomorrow and Thursday. Right now it's solo, so you're welcome to call it anytime you want. There's no UFC card this week, obviously. There is a LFA card, though, so that's something to talk about later in the week. By the way, there's no Bellator cards. They haven't announced anything, which blows my mind at this point. Anyways, please plug if you want to answer that, feel free to, and then plug yourself.
Yeah, I will do, by the way, a giveaway for the Glory card on Saturday. So it's a pay-per-view code. It's from Fight TV. It's worth $25. So if you want to it's just a retweet. You have to do it and a like on the tweet. That's it.
You don't ask them to follow you either. You don't ask them to follow.
Nah,
you know what? I respect you so much for saying no. People who do that are such assholes when they're like, follow me, and then you might win $10 or something.
The only thing is like When I did this, what's it? This is a collaboration with Fight TV, right?
Right.
So Fight TV said like you can ask for the. I said I don't like to ask for a follow. I asked them to follow you guys because you pretty much giving it away with me. But I'm not gonna ask myself for followers. Listen, if people want to follow me, they can follow me. If they don't want to, they don't have to.
I respect that. So plug yourself and let's get out of here.
Okay. Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, MMADNA.nl for articles, whatever you want to watch. There are some interviews with my colleague Stefan on it with some glory fighters. It's in Dutch, so if you're not Dutch, it doesn't really make sense to watch it for you. But okay, that's it. Thanks for having me again, Adam.
No, I appreciate you joining me, man. It was a lot of fun. You guys can follow me on Twitter at MMAdamMorgan, right at the bottom of the screen there. Podcast, MMAOddsRader.com, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcast. Trying to grow it. Appreciate all the live viewers today. Really appreciate it. I'm also available, obviously, at bjpenn.com and MMA Rings on that. I'm not with odds.com any longer. Thanks for them for the opportunity. Just didn't work out for me, but everywhere else I'm the same. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., guys. Have a great day.